All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Let me know if everything is working correctly. So I've been doing this for a while, but I still don't really know. There's always something that I could forget, you know. Oh, you know what? I have an idea. How do I do this? There we go. I'm gonna write down this time. 53:27. And see if I can beat this time with no creatures. I don't know if it's my PB for no creature runs. I think I've done better than that. But I just kind of want to see if I can get some good runs. No Chinese. That's I guess that's true. If I'm trying to like improve my time, even for practice runs, then it would make a difference. But hello, everyone. I've kind of been thinking about what speedruns I want to focus on. I think it's mainly the story percent category still, right? That's pretty much what I've been doing the whole time. But also, a lot of them are kind of bad. Like Gourmand. Not a huge fan of. And Artificer is interesting. For like no creature runs, I don't even know how to approach Artificer because the run is so completely different with no creatures. Because I've done... Yeah, I mean, for like Speedmaster, right? Anyway. What was I saying? I got a bit distracted. Oh yeah, so like or for like Spearmaster, there's a lot of creatures, right? But there's never a situation where like you're guaranteed to see creatures in a room. Like they're very likely, but there's still situations where you can avoid them or where you can get lucky, you know. But for Artificer, it's like a guarantee. You're going to run into rooms filled with creatures, you know, at some point. Whether it be the scavenger toll or the scavenger king or like just so many other rooms, you're so likely to see creatures. Yeah, the cursor is on the screen. Whenever I have mods enabled, the cursor shows up for some reason. I think because of mods like this where you have to use your cursor to interact with it. Why didn't they make a speedrunning too? for karma caching. I guess there is an option on OBS to not capture the cursor, right? I thought I had that enabled. But this still shows up. I don't know. Maybe I don't have that changed. You know, speaking of Animal Well, I'm not gonna mention any spoilers, by the way, but I've been trying to keep up with the speedruns, and they've improved so much very quickly. I mean, obviously, a pretty popular game is gonna get speedruns, and the speedruns are gonna improve, but very quickly they reached the point where I don't know if I could replicate the same thing. Because when I first saw like the very first speedruns of the game, I was like, you know, I could try that. And actually, I did one speedrun attempt at least, and that, despite having a bunch of mistakes, was like similar in time to some of the runs that I've seen. So it's like, okay, maybe I could sort of do this. But now it's like, I don't know. Now I'm not sure. And also, it kind of feels like Rain World is really easy. If you ignore creature RNG, the average Rain World speedrun feels a lot easier than like a lot of other speedruns. Because even in like the Animal World runs that I've been seeing, there's so much like switching between items and pretty precise timings on some movement tech stuff. And you're running through rooms really quickly. You're like changing items. I guess I should have 2 spears, right? He used to being consistent with movement. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell if my movement has improved much, you know. Because I still make so many mistakes with like fast pole climbing or AI hops, or even just like a regular slide pounce. Kind of didn't know what to do there. Why is it lagging so much? Why is this still a problem? Yeah, we love white lizards. So nice when they show up in speedruns. I don't know why I thought there was a pole there I could grab onto. It's a wall jump, and it always has been a wall jump there. Funny new long pounce? No. I've not heard about that. Like, I've gotten worse at that pull hop right there. Okay, I'll look at that in a bit. Oh, don't do that. Don't jump out of that. Difficult inputs though, of course. What is this? So you press a whole lot of keys and you get a big jump. Huh. Well, I can't test that out right now, but I guess I'll look into that eventually. That's funny. Oh, nice fast fall. So I've been thinking about this thing that I want to do with the, like, guide video. I guess you could call them guides. Although they're not really, like, guides. They're more like example speedruns. Like, here's an example of what a good speedrun looks like that you can follow if you want to, like, learn the routes or something like that. I'm wondering how much I want to edit, like, the final version of the video. Because there's two ways to approach it that I'm thinking of. I've been making guides and stuff all of a sudden. Yeah, I saw what Ice has been doing. But those are very unedited. Because from what I've seen of them, it kind of looks like he just does one run and then just, like, uploads it. But it's cool to like be able to, like, explain everything that's going on, but also there's very likely to be, like, random mistakes or issues with the run, you know. So it's an intermediate guide. That's what it says. The point is to give you an idea of what the run looks like and maybe some, like, tips and stuff. Yeah, that's not the point. The point is not, like, here's a, you know, exactly what to do. Like, Ice Toberun just did that stream where he went through any percent, right? and went into great detail on every single room on exactly what the right movement is. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about. But instead of a like explanation about everything, it's just like here's the movement, you know. This is what like perfect movement looks like. And in order to make something like that, I think you need to like probably do some editing to like get a good run of each room and edit that all together like a segmented run, you know. Although that kind of thing might only be possible for any percent, where you can really put in the effort to optimize each room. And it actually like makes a difference for the final time, and it's not just like, you know, an hour-long run where it's the most of the time save is like being lucky or just like knowing where to go and being consistent with your movement over like doing the best possible movement. Although some other games you'll see like 100% runs, or like any run that takes like an hour or more. Sometimes they still go crazy with the movement, even in those long categories. So, you know, Rain World players always making excuses. But also I was thinking, what is the best possible movement? You know, if you're wondering, okay, I want to do a speedrun of this category, and I want to know what the best movement is. What is that? I think it depends on the player, right? Can you do EI hops, or are you just comfortable with EI or E slides? Can you do cross turn vaults? Maybe those would be useful in a few places. Not me though, and I wouldn't recommend it. Wall pounces? Do you want to use wall pounces? I know some people are kind of against using wall pounces, or they just aren't as consistent with them. No one times anything. We're doing Spearmaster. Okay, we're not playing Hunter. Just keep going. And it also depends on some other conditions. Say for Gourmand or Artificer, where you have stamina to worry about. When you enter a room, your stamina is not always going to be the same. So what movement you can do in that room is going to be different between runs. For Artificer, I did come up with some consistent strategies where it was like only oh gosh, why did that go so far? Some consistent strategies were like if you do this many explosive jumps, then you'll have enough for this room where you need one, right? Or for Gourmand, sometimes you'd end up in a consistent rhythm where you'd end up like doing the same movement, and like you would run out of stamina in similar places, but it's always going to be like slight variations. Because like if you did a perfect run where you say you like splice together like the best run at every single individual room, then for Gourmand ideally you would be full stamina at the start of every burst, right? But that's obviously not realistic for like a full run, because you're gonna like have full stamina for one room and then you're gonna run out of stamina for the next room. So how do you make that as like an example run? Like, what is the best possible movement? Because it feels like in that case, what you just need to do is do a lot of practice, and eventually you get used to what kind of movement you should do in each room. Same with actually with rivulets. Oh shoot, I didn't think about that. But a rivulet has the gravity cycles and the rot, right? And so when you enter the region, whether it's like normal gravity or low gravity, it's going to be random. And then when the gravity changes is also random. So every run is going to be different, and pretty much the only way that I could think of making like a guide for that would be to do an entire segment with no gravity and then an entire segment with gravity. Just do the whole thing in both versions. So it's like, okay, here's the movement that you do if it's this gravity, here's the movement that you do if it's that gravity. And just that would just kind of account for everything, you know? And that's kind of stuff that I've learned intuitively just by practicing that segment a whole lot. Just getting an idea of like, okay, this is like usually works well, and this gravity, here's what usually works or what doesn't work, you know? Of course, with no actual testing involved. When it comes to like large like route changes, I did time things. Oh no. Like, is it faster to go through these rooms or these rooms? Those are really easy to time. But when it comes to different like movement options, oh, there's actually a really interesting like video format that I've seen a handful of times where you basically do a room several times with a bunch of different strategies, and then you overlay all of them at the same time. So you basically just see a bunch of slugcats running around doing different things, and you can see like, oh, this one was the fastest out of all of them, and they did this movement, right? Like I saw that for like that one room at the sort of outskirts, where there's like the pole that you can jump up. There's like a bunch of different ways you can do that room, and there's like one technique that was like faster than everything else, but it was also crazy difficult. So technically, like that would be the best option, but you know, imagine if there was a mod for that. You could record little ghosts and then replay them all at the same time. Or that could just be the functionality for the lap mod. You could choose to like record each run of a room and overlay them all at the same time. And you could like maybe like focus on the one with the fastest time and see like what your strategy was. That would be so nice, actually. You could just test out every single different strategy you can think of for a room, and then you would immediately know which one was the best. That'd be a very cool mod. I don't know how realistic it is though. That could be made. But I've had a lot of suggestions for like quality of life speedrun mods, and I'm not gonna be the one to make them. Right. The Spearmaster also has gravity cycles. Hey, I guess that's the trade-off, right? Of like, how much effort do I want to put into a guide video versus how realistic it is for me to actually finish making the guide video. Because the more ideas that I have for like, okay, I should show like every different routes or every like different possible movements for this room, or like different gravity cycles, or you know, maybe extra explanations on the side, you know. The more ideas that I have, the less likely it is that I'll actually like make it. So if I make it really simple and just say record one run with no creatures and just upload it as an example run, I can like reasonably do that. But then it'll miss out on things like gravity cycles, or you know, accounting for different like levels of skill, you know. I don't know how it works for Moon, but I'm gonna guess that it's the same as the way it works for rivulets in Pebbles, where when you enter the region, it randomly picks between the gravity being on or off. And then it just cycles randomly between the two. So eventually it just kind of like becomes random at some point. But also, you know, it does become consistent somewhat, because let's say there's a room where you can only get through the room if it's low gravity. Well, if it's low gravity, you're going to get through the room. If it's normal gravity, you're just going to have to wait until it becomes low gravity, and then they both sync up, right? Another option for making these videos would be to just do a bunch of runs. Let's say I do 5 runs per category. And then just take each of the runs, and for every room, include the best time on that room from each of the runs. But also that could lead to situations where the best time in a room was like the time where I like picked up a bunch of rocks and I could do a bunch of AI hops, and that made it really fast. But you know, if you don't get any rocks, then you know, you just can't do that strategy. Because you know, pickups are random too. Or maybe I should only include movements that is 100% consistent. I don't know. That is like more complexity added, you know. It's kind of crazy, like how much stuff you just have to make up on the fly in a Rain World speedrun. It's actually very little like planned out routes and movement, which is something that I wish was a thing, or I thought it should have been a thing for a long time for Rain World. Like, why isn't there just one best strategy? But I think I've realized that's just impossible. A combination of creature RNG and like pickups items being random, as well as just movement in general being very chaotic. Did I just die, or did I just lose the run? Yeah. There we go. There's a new pearl. Because unless it was like a task with RNG manipulation, like that like a perfect run would not be possible, you know. But I guess the example run is kind of like a good enough, you know. Like it shows the routes, which is like almost the more important thing. Because I still, you know, people still do runs without taking the ideal route, just because they're used to one specific routes that they're like that they already do all the time. It's like, well, if you go through these rooms instead of those rooms, you're actually like 10 seconds faster, and it's like they just like don't bother with it. I don't know. So just saying confidently, going through these rooms is the fastest option. I've tested it. And here's some like decent movement like on the side, you know. Feel free to try this movement or something else if you come up with it. And a lot of the time there is some consistent movement that you can do. So oh, come on. Like this jump right there. It's actually really easy. So I can just say like, hey, here's the jump that you do. Also, I get this weird feeling from the idea of making like speedrun guides. And it's like, do I want to encourage people to speedrun this game? I think for a lot of people in the speedrun community, the answer is yes. Obviously, there should be more people speedrunning this game. But also, it's like, how much have I really enjoyed speedrunning Rain World? Or how much of it has just been me forcing myself to do something that I thought would be easier than it actually is? Because I only ever really wanted to do a handful of speedruns, like for Rivulets or for Saint. But then it was just like, well, I am doing these 40% runs, why don't I just do all the 40% runs? And I ended up having to do Gourmand and Artificer and Spearmaster, which all ended up being speedruns that I enjoyed a lot less than like Rivulets, for example. And so do I make a Gourmand speedrun guide and be like, hey guys, you should do the speedrun? you're gonna enjoy it a lot. And I feel like you're either going to speedrun it casually, and it doesn't matter what the ideal strategy is, you're just like having fun. And by not taking your time too seriously, you can enjoy it a lot more. Or if you really do care about improving your time as much as possible, you're probably going to go out and like look for help as much as possible. You can go like watch the world record, or go just ask people like, hey, like what are the best routes? What are the best strategies? And like in that case, it's almost easier just to help a single person rather than just make an entire guide that might only end up helping that one person anyway. You know. And I find that if someone shows up who really is motivated to get a world record, for example, they're gonna find a way. It doesn't matter whether there's resources or not. They're gonna like, if they really need to, they're gonna do the testing themselves and see what the best strategy is. If it was like another speedrun game, and it was just like a any percent category or a like no major glitches category, then it's like, okay, you know, a speedrun guide is like reasonable because it's like just this one speedrun. Say, hey guys, do this speedrun, it's fun. And then, you know, once they get into speedrunning through like the main category of the game, then it's like, okay, if you want, you can try these other like niche categories. But for Rain World, I don't think that really exists, other than maybe Pebbles percent. And even then, that's kind of niche. Considering that it's called Pebble percent, and you don't even know what that is unless you like know what you like look into what the speedruns are. Oops, I messed that up really bad because I was talking in here the game. Because that is not a normal speedrun category, Pebbles percent. What does that even mean? And some people have assumed that it just means get the Pebbles as fast as possible. I've seen that a few times. People just think that's what it is. It's like, oh, it's actually, like sometimes people will ask something like, what is like the most normal speedrun category? Where you just like play the game. And it doesn't like skip everything like any percent does. The answer is Pebble percent, but you wouldn't know to search for that immediately. Unless you like look on leaderboards, but even then you need to like watch a run to see what it even does. Searching for Speedmaster world record wouldn't help, yeah. That was part of my motivation for trying Speedmaster. That the world record wasn't even like the right route at all. It is like an extra challenge on top that is completely unnecessary when it comes to just a speedrun on its own. Yeah, I don't have a grab worm. I don't like bringing one. If there's still plenty of time left in the cycle, if there's not much time left, I think it is worth it to keep the will worm, because if the gravity switches off completely or it stops changing, then you need to use the worm to save yourself. To like actually be able to get through some rooms. But also welcome to the stream. We're talking about making guides for this game for speedrunning. There's a lot of problems with the idea of making a guide video at a high level that isn't just like a basic tutorial on like what the route is, you know. Because honestly, I don't even think you need to make a very in-depth guide. If you just want to know the route, just go watch the world record and go through the same rooms that they do, unless they take like a skip that you don't know how to do. Nice. That's usually how I feel if I'm interested in another game speedrun. Like, okay, watch the world record, and if they take some crazy skip, then, you know, find the next best alternative. And, you know, that's where like a beginner's guide might be useful, where it's like, okay, here's a good strategy for if you don't know how to do this crazy skip. But that's not really a thing in Rain World, I don't think. So usually just the world record is the same route that anyone can take. Hi, Moon. Oh, I just threw the pearl away. But also just the idea of making a guide, a speedrun guide for like the best possible movement, that doesn't really exist, does it? Is there really such thing as a best speedrun or like a best like example? Where it's like, if you take this route and if you do this movement, you know, like these are the best options. Because that's definitely true in some rooms. But what about any situation where you can use like throw boosts or AI hops to go faster? Because then how fast you can go through the room depends on if you pick up rocks or not, right? If you don't get lucky with the rocks or spears, then you just can't do the best movement. Then like, what's the next best option? If you're making a guide video, should you like include the like, here's a version of the room with AI hops, here's a version without AI hops, and do that for like every single room in the run? That's also ignoring creature spawns, which, you know, at the moment a creature shows up, you have to deviate from the routes. Or for Rivulets and Spearmaster, they have parts of the run where the gravity changes randomly. And so, you know, your movement is constantly changing between like normal gravity movement and low gravity movement, and it might change in the middle of a room. Rainworld soundtrack or Hollow Knight soundtrack? Well, Rainworld, obviously. Honestly, Hollow Knight's music is good, but it's not anything special, I don't think. Eat it a neuron. Every time some random creature eats a neuron, that happens to Moon. Every time a new player eats Moon's neurons on their first playthrough, this is what happens. And also I was thinking, how useful are guide videos anyway? If I were to make a guide for Rivulet story percent, how many people have even run that category? Okay. Shoot, where's the stream? There we are. Rivulet story percent has a total 8 people have speedrun Rivulet story percent. 8 people. And so I don't know, maybe within like the next few years, if the community doesn't like change in size drastically, maybe a handful more people will also try that speedrun. So okay, a guide would help like 4 people maybe. If those players are just playing casually, they just think the speedrun sounds kind of fun and they're going to try it out. So, you know, they don't care about what the best possible strategy is. They're just going to do whatever they want to do, right? Maybe they'll copy the world record routes, but you know, they're just having fun. But if someone cares to try to go for like a really good time or like compete with world record, then they'll often, you know, get past the point of needing a guide video and just like they're going to figure things out for themselves. Or maybe just ask people who've also done the speedrun for help directly, you know? I feel like the people who are good enough to like need a guide are gonna like be fine by themselves, and the people who don't, they just don't care at all. I guess the idea is that a guide video could get more people into the run than would normally be interested alone. Like, oh, this is an interesting guide. Maybe I'll try the speedrun myself. Speedrun explained instead of a guide. There is a audience for that, isn't there? That video was actually very good on the one spirit challenge. But it's less about the speed and more about the challenge itself. I think maybe what I'm... Oh, great. Hold up. He's over there. What are you doing, dude? I should have noticed him earlier. To answer an earlier question in the chat, there's not many people watching the stream, and the chat isn't moving very quickly. So you can actually like have full conversations with like full sentences, you know, and actually like people can read the messages and respond, and you know, you don't need to like only use a handful of words. You can actually talk in this chat, you know, feel free. Roofing white lizards? Yes, please do. See, that goes back to the other problem of I don't have any motivation to put effort into making videos. Because I was thinking like, what's the best way that I could make a guide without really putting in much effort into it? I thought that maybe the best option is just to record like a no creature run as like an example of like here's what like a decent run looks like maybe. And maybe I won't even present them as guides. They will just be like, you know, creatureless runs. I'll just make it kind of my own little category of speedruns. Because I usually enjoy these a lot more than actual runs. If I were to say anything about rain roll speedrunning in general, it would be that it's like really bad. You know, my thesis is that rain rolled movement is really good, better than some games that focus on platforming. I probably prefer rain rolled movement over Celeste. But despite having such good movement, it is not a good game for speedrunning. And everything about the game design goes against speedrunning. Zero RNG games have their own issues. Yes, I'm aware. I guess that's like part of the appeal if you're speedrunning casually. There's always something random going on. There's a lot of variation between runs, you know. Sometimes you end up seeing a lot of like bizarre interactions between creatures just because you're doing one run a lot of times, you know. Like when I was running Artificer Story Percent, I was kind of keeping track of like some unique scavenger colors that I found. Like, oh, that's a neat scavenger. I haven't seen that kind before. But the annoying part is that if you actually care about the time, your speedrun, then, you know, a funny creature interaction might actually lose you some time. And it's like, oh, that's not very funny now, is it? If you're playing a game with no RNG at all, then it's actually always your fault when you lose time. Maybe that's the problem with that. If you're not as good at the game as you wish you were, you end up probably being very disappointed when you don't get the times that you want. Because it's not like you can just get lucky to get a good time. It's like, you know, you actually have to improve yourself. You are the problem here. And there's also the issue of them being kind of monotonous. It's always the same thing every single time. So if you're like grinding out like a PB or world records, then it's, you know, you're just doing the same thing so many times in a row. I think that Rain World's movement is engaging enough for this to not really bother me too much, though. Even without creatures. Oh, you suck. I actually got stunned from that. This is the hardest jump in the run, actually. Here we go. Way longer than last attempt that I did. You know, I think that maybe if you really want to enjoy random speedruns, you should probably just accept randomness, accept the creatures. Because in all the time that I've been running this game, it's always like, wow, this game is so fun to speedrun, but the creatures, they suck, you know? It's always been my perspective. And then, you know, maybe if I were just to accept, like, yeah, creatures are a thing, creatures just, you know, they're part of the game, they're an important part of the game. They're probably the most important part of the game, honestly. Like, outside of speedrunning. Creatures are what, like, make the game so unique. What everyone's talking about, you know? And being like, oh, they suck, if only they were removed. If only I could play a version of the game where there were no creatures at all. That's basically what I'm saying. The best speedrunner is probably the person who enjoys the creatures in the run the most. They wouldn't be as irritated. They would, you know, not mind doing so many attempts as much. I shouldn't have done a roll pounce at her before this. It's actually making this a lot more difficult. I'm gonna grab the pole to reset that. Yeah. When you're in the pounce state, your grappling is like slowed down for some reason. It's like there's a speed cap or something. So doing those like big swings is much more difficult. Mod that removes all creatures, including slow cats. Wasn't that like one of the patch notes? Slow cats have been removed. All deaths involve slow cats, so they just gotta get out. Even speedrunners can't avoid it. That's true, I guess. Should pick up that rock. Bring him at the very end. Staying consistent. There we go. See, I always knew that this was possible. Sub 50. Good luck ever seeing this in a real run ever. Dare I say that I don't think this will ever happen. For real. No way. Yeah. Guess I'll write that down. 49:17. Like 4 minutes faster than the previous attempt. So what was I doing then? I guess it wasn't in Chinese. Maybe that makes that much of a difference. What do I do now? I said I was gonna run Saint last time, right? I'm bad. Get up, dude. It's about a 40 seconds difference. So definitely not. I mean, obviously not. That was like such a big difference. A different language is not going to save like 4 minutes. It's funny that this little move that you do here is like the most... It's like the biggest glitch in any of these speedruns that you do. Just flipping through a wall. Gourmand is probably the only other character that can consistently get out of bounds. But I don't think it's actually useful anywhere. I haven't really seen a use for it. Other than people being like, hey, did you know that Gourmand can clip into walls? You can slide into a corner in a specific way to just like clip into the wall. Because Gourmand slides are really fast, you know? Wow, that was like very close. Grabbing. Actually, hold on. Let's do a little bit of testing. Let's change language first. It doesn't need to be this for Saints anyway. But I heard there's some new tech. Wow, look at all these unlocks. Okay, how do you do this? This is a lot of inputs. Maybe these poles are gonna be annoying. Here, there's this little spot up here. The inputs are so fast that you can't even see what the... I'm wondering, can I do this? I'm doing some things that you can't even see. Just researching this movement. If I could do it once, that'd be cool. But I'll have to see if I can even, if it's even like feasible to do in a real run. Maybe it's like crawl, turn, and vault level of difficulty. And even then, I don't see exactly how this would be useful. This actually might not be possible at all. I mean, I don't know if the video was done with actual like in-game. Ooh, okay, that looked different, didn't it? I don't know about this. Because you have to like release jump for like a single frame. And then press again, from what I'm seeing. And that kind of like press jump and like press jump very quickly like that. Like that is like usually not very possible. To like release a button and press it again after just one frame. Unless you have like multiple keys that do the same input. Yeah, I don't know about that. Do I have Gourmand unlocked? I want to see if I can do the wall clip. It kind of looks like this. Actually, I want to check real quick if there's any other inputs that you have to do. Maybe. Oh, you can kind of see a little bit, right? I kind of clip into the floor. What does the distance look like? Oh, it only works in specific corners. Although I've done it like this before. Where you stand very close to the wall. Like I've done this before. I haven't clipped it yet. It might require a different kind of platform or like wall that you slide into. Show me the actual. Is there an arena that has a place where you can do this? You know, whatever. Let's go back to the actual runs here. I also tried out the extended like charge bounce or whatever it's called, and it's very difficult. It kind of looks like the kind of movement that's just not possible. Because to me, it looks like you need to like hold and then release and press jump with like only a single frame delay. Yeah, it's not probably not huge deal, but it looks very interesting from like just how much distance you can get from a single pounce. Kind of like a horizontal crawl turn vault. Maybe someone will figure out how to do it consistently. I mean, out of anyone who could break reality, it would be Gourmand. I mean, it literally is Gourmand. They do break some rules. You know, just like creating infinite matter, for example. A new theory, Gourmand is a white hole. They contain an entire opposite universe inside of them. Where does the food go? Yeah, I don't know. For the ate everything. He was so hungry. Oh, okay. He has two stomachs. One is normal and the other is a pocket dimension. As is normal for Slugheads. I don't know why not as many people run Saint. It's like one of the less popular speedruns. While being like one of the better ones in my opinion. Like more people have run Artificer than pretty much every other category, and I don't understand that at all. I guess they weren't going for Deathless runs, were they? People like Artie. People like Gourmand too. Where's those speedruns? Rubicon. Yeah, I guess. The right side of Rubicon is actually really safe. It's slower, but it's like way better. You still have to deal with Miros Vultures, but past that, past the Miros Vulture zone, it's like pretty chill. There's like some snails and like a red lizard that doesn't even attack you. That's like the only threat in the whole like region. So once you can get past the beginning and the Miros Vultures, which is, you know, not great. Like the left side has all the awful things, like the red lizard room, the Miros room, and then the orange lizard room are all on the left side. But technically it's not the fastest route, so you know, you can't really take that. I haven't done a great job at sharing my strategies to the community as a whole. As for like Monk story or Saint story or Spearmaster story, actually pretty much all the story percent categories I've like come up with strategies for that maybe aren't like that well known. I guess that's just the point of the guide, isn't it? Just say, hey, here's the route. Take this route, please. It's good. People only pretend to like Gourmand. Is that true? Is that how it is? I know that when I was running Spearmaster more, a lot of people showed up in the chat who were like, thank you for the speedrun. Spearmaster's my favorite character. I'm like, who are you people? In a nice way. I said it in a nice way, okay. So I didn't expect too many people to actually like Spearmaster. Or Gourmand. I think that also happened for Gourmand. People actually like the character. So they like to watch the speedrun from a distance. And never directly engage with it. Hunter's actually a great character. But I'm kind of scared of trying the speedrun. I did like one Hunter story percent run, and it made it to Subterranean. But I'm not trusting that run. That was probably the outlier. I mean, literally one of the first Spearmaster attempts that I did made it to the end, and it was the only one. That one attempt at the very beginning was like the best run that I've gotten. Even though it was, I mean, it was really slow. That was the problem, of course, but it actually made it to the end. Oh yeah, it was a red centipede. And thank you, Eek. You're so good. And consistent. Gourmand IRL. I've died way too much to the Wormgrass when doing Saint. I feel like I've forgotten how to do it, or the new Yeek AI just doesn't work with that well with the Wormgrass. Not quite sure what's going on with those, but I've died so much. Because previously you could just kind of like spam jump and it would work out eventually. That took 10 years. I don't know. I kind of have the feeling that there's not much more left to for Rainworld speedruns. Because you know when Downpour came out, there's some interest again, and maybe some of these new characters have some interesting speedruns. But I think that's probably over. It's mostly just a handful of people doing their own thing, really. Like, if a single person in the Rainworld Discord is talking a lot about a category that they're doing, then that becomes the popular speedrun. You know? Hope that the Watcher has a fun speedrun, you know? It would be nice for a single character to have a good speedrun because they're gonna get a lot of attention, you know. Playing Hunter right now. Like if the Watcher's speedrun is like better than all the downpour character speedruns, then people will actually want to speedrun the character, and everyone will be focusing on it because there's not like 4 other characters to be distracted by, you know. That's actually part of and that was probably like a big issue when Downpour came out for speedruns. Like which one do people actually care about? Which character does speedrun, you know? And for me, I would say, hey, you should play Rivulet, right? Rivulet's the fastest character. You have to speedrun them. Actually, I can't really say that. I didn't want to speedrun Rivulet Sword Percent at first. Because it went through the raw. I really wanted to stay away from that region. But there's probably like not much collaboration because, you know, the handful of people who were doing speedruns were kind of like split across all the different characters. And plus, like, what are even the speedrun categories, right? Can you go to the depths? Is that a speedrun? What is the ending for these characters? Are there multiple endings? Which one of them is like the real one? That was awful. That's fair. I wonder if they're gonna do the early release or like early access for streamers and YouTubers for the Watcher. Because honestly, I think I've realized recently that I don't actually like when that happens. Because let's say that you're really interested in the game and you want to play it blind. But then like a week before it releases, a bunch of YouTubers are like, hey, here's this game that we have early access to. And we're gonna like make a bunch of videos about it. And it's like, okay, well now I have to like avoid all these channels that I usually watch in like fear of spoilers. And maybe like one of the random thumbnails is gonna spoil something major. And you know, you just have to deal with that being a thing. For like the whole week. And ignoring early access, as a streamer, you kind of want to do things immediately. But then, like, for Animal Well, right, people are going to want to play that game without spoilers, which means that they can't watch the stream. Even if you want to play it, like, as soon as possible. So I played Animal Well as soon as I was able to. But a bunch of people showed up in the chat and they were like, hey, I'm not going to watch the stream because I'm going to play it myself. And it's like, yeah, that's fair. Should I have waited to stream the game? But then I would have had to like avoid spoilers for a long time too. Can YouTubers put spoilers in the thumbnail? Yeah. You're off. Why do they always do that? I feel like the reindeer do that on purpose. Like when I was running Hunter, they would always do that in the first few rooms. I mean, this is where Hunter spawns, right? So it's the same exact place, actually. For the two for the two games that I streamed recently, I didn't know anything about them before I played, and so I was wondering, like, what do I even make the thumbnail? How do you make a thumbnail for something that you don't know anything about? I just picked some random room at like the very start of the game for both of them. But I wonder about that. Or actually, I kind of wonder about thumbnails in general. I still don't really know how to do them. Because for a video, it's like, okay, the video is like, or the thumbnail is like a preview of what the video is, kind of. You can usually assume that whatever's in the thumbnail is going to be in the video. But for a stream, how do you know what's going to happen in this live stream before you do it? Usually have a very rough idea if you have a plan of sorts. Like, okay, I'm planning on doing this thing today, but what if you plan to do something? What if you just change your mind? I'm gonna do something else. Or what if you, if there's actually, I don't know. But usually you just kind of have to be like, this is like the plan, and then who knows what else is gonna happen. And for like games that I haven't played yet, like I don't even know. And basically, the thumbnail basically just says I'm playing this game, and I guess that's all the information that I have too. I kind of like that on Twitch there aren't any thumbnails at all. You just stream. That's it. It is actually kind of annoying. You have to make a thumbnail for like every single stream. It's why I've reused a lot of thumbnails for streams. I don't want to make a new one every single time, and I'm kind of running out of places in the world to take screenshots of. But also, if I'm doing the same thing every stream, then I think using the same thumbnail is representative of that. You know, here's another speedrun of this character that you've seen like 10 times already. It's hard to make thumbnails of creatures because I can't, you know, taking a screenshot means I have to stop moving and then the creature can kill me. If it's a hostile creature. You know, Lethal Company was a really hard game to make a thumbnail for. Because it's 3D. That was a challenge for me. And it has a bunch of UI and like stuff covering the screen, and it's really dark. Like it like perfectly works against what a good thumbnail is. Should I do another Leaflet Company stream? I actually kind of have a lot to say about that game. Regarding the new update. But also just playing solo was kind of dull sometimes. We're just getting the echo here, I don't need the fruit. Artificer thumbnails? Because I like got screenshots of from runs where I died, the scavengers or something like that. I guess the limitation is actually that I want to get a screenshot from a room that's in the run if I'm doing a speed run. Actually, the thumbnail for the current stream, the one that I have right now. Oh shoot. Okay, we're good. The thumbnail for this stream, I literally picked a room at random. I used a random number generator. I just picked one. Like, alright, this room. Biggest one in drainage system. I think it's like that room that it connects to a room with a karma flower in it. Please stop wall jumping. Like it's like a T shape. There's a karma flower to the right, and it goes up somewhere. I think it goes into that one like big room with the water. Right, world geoguessing. I think I did try that. It's like harder than you think. There's a lot of like random rooms that like reuse some. I guess I could say it reuse assets, but they're mostly just like consistent architecture. The one big room with the water. You know, there's like water at the bottom of the room, the salamander in the room, there's snails everywhere. There's like a bunch of floating platforms, or not floating, but you know. That room. There's sheltered to the left. If you go to the right, there's like the three-way path with the kelp and like a pearl in the middle. it's like easy to get like somewhat close to the location. Just from like the color palette alone, you can kind of figure out what the region is. Then it's like which like random platform is this one. What you guys don't know is that if you were to look through all of my thumbnails and put a point on the map on where the thumbnail is and then draw a line between all the points, it will write out an image or like a sequence of numbers. I considered making thumbnails such that when you were to view my channel and like all the streams, the thumbnails would connect together into one big image. But also, I don't know if that would work considering like if you're on like if your monitor is a different size, or if you're on like mobile. Like I don't know if the videos would be formatted the same. No, I haven't done anything like that. But it reminds me of Animal Well. Paying attention to like the most obscure stuff. Sometimes playing a game changes the way you think. Because there's a lot of there's a long time that I spent in Animal Well looking for tiny little hints of like where to progress. How do I explain this without spoilers? Didn't this work? There we go. Only displaying through like one room. I should have done that earlier or something. But there was a long part of the game where I'm just looking for hints in the background. And I spent such a long time doing that I've kind of like gotten used to doing that in other games. Because I was like playing Raid World and it's like, oh, there's like nothing to like look at. there's no like little hints in the background. Or Lethal Company, since I mentioned that earlier. I should have eaten the fruit. It's really easy to get lost in Lethal Company. Because you're going into the facility, you're looking for items, then you gotta get back. You gotta find your way out. And if you don't remember the path back, you get lost and you'd probably die to something, or you just run out of time completely. But I think by playing that game a lot, I really improved my like spatial memory, if that's what you call it. That's like even when playing other games, like suddenly I was like better at like memorizing like the path that I took through an area. Says thanks, Andrew. No, mood first. It is moon first, right? Get the echo and then get the Pebbles echo and then stay there. Yeah. That was a very big jump somehow. Wait. No. Go back. Eat the fruit. Or the mold, slime mold. Oh, I broke the fruit. Shoot, that's actually kind of bad. Because you want these for later. Actually, maybe it's not. I don't know. If I eat one more food here, then I won't do this one later. Maybe. I just arranged the tongue. Maybe that's what happened. I feel like I didn't even use the tongue there though. But that is tech. If you grab something at the very tip of your tongue, it kind of pulls you in really quickly. Maybe because the tongue has like a set distance, like a maximum distance that you can be. So if I can't actually grab anything in the shelter, but you know, when you grab something, tongue will drop down until like, or there's like a maximum distance, you know. But the tongue itself is like actually a little bit elastic. So maybe when you send it out initially, it like can go a little bit further than the max range. And so if you grab something there, then it like pulls you in all of a sudden. That might have just happened right there. That did it twice, I think. I don't know. And returning to the like speedrun guide thing, Saint is an example of like character that has such fluid movement. And I don't think there is such thing as like a best route unless it's literally a task. Because even like the slightest differences in your movements inputs will lead to crazy differences in like the final like momentum and like position that you're at. Or like where you are in the environments when you like start using the tongue to grapple. Like there's so many small variations. And that's always true of this game, and I guess any speedrun really, but especially for Saint, because the swing is like such variability. Even if there was like one strategy that worked really well, you know, you might like deviate from it just a little bit, and then suddenly you have to come up with something entirely different. But I guess it's less of like a here's like exactly where to grapple and where like jump, you know. It's more like here's roughly the path that you take, you know. In some rooms it's like you want to go like this strange direction instead. I somehow I forgot what I was doing. I need to go back to Moon. I guess I just forgot to get that echo. Even though I literally said beforehand, I was like, I gotta go get the Moon echo. Turns out I accidentally end up finding even faster routes. You know, thinking about Animal World speedruns, there's these eggs hidden around the worlds. They're like the secret collectibles. And I guess like there's probably a speedrun category for collecting all the eggs, right? That sounds awful to speedrun. Or maybe not to speedrun, maybe you get used to it, but to route that out, that sounds like, wow, good luck. You know, I can't imagine figuring out how you'd even start. Honestly, the fact that people have come up with a route for even the, like, any percent run, or the no major glitches run, because any percent is actually just, like, a crazy wrong word, but, then the route, like, they came up with a good route pretty quickly. For like, getting all the eggs, that sounds like crazy. I can't even imagine. Like, Rain World 100% runs are already kind of intimidating for me. Just having to memorize like all of the passages and like the best way to get them and like backup strategies if things don't work out. I think in general, I'm not a huge fan of speedruns that involve something other than just getting to a location as fast as possible. You know, because Rain World is really simple. You just get from one point to the next, and that's it. And you might need to get food, but usually you just find one stop where you get all the food you need, and then that's it. So technically, you need to get to some location by following the same exact path every time, and you get food on the side. That's like the most you ever have to do in Rain World, at least ignoring 100%. You might need to get like a pearl for like a scavenger toll. That's usually it. But like Pizza Tower, it's actually just a complaint that I have about the game in general, but you need to collect these something. What are they? I don't even remember what they are, but there's something that you need to collect that gives you money, and you spend money on the bosses, and you need to defeat the bosses to progress in the game. So just even like simplest like 80% speedrun requires that you collect all those things in the levels to get enough money to like get to the end of the game, right? It's like, you know, I feel like with the speedrun you just kind of like want to go like fast. You just gotta want to you want to go from like this room to that room as fast as possible. But no, you gotta like memorize all the places where like the collectible items are and go out of your way to pick them up. And any speedrun that has that kind of thing as the requirements, I don't know, it's just a lot more things that you need to remember, and it makes it kind of hard to get into like trying out the speedrun at first. That room is annoying. This is not going to be a very good run, by the way. Like this, the Spearmaster run was very like it was surprisingly good for like the first attempt. This won't be. Alright, here we are. Hey, dude. You know, I totally forget what song plays for this echo. And I actually feel like some of the echoes have... It's kind of hard to remember what the song is. Like, this one is obviously for the Undergrowth one. I think the Farmer's echo is pretty memorable. Or the Metropolis one, actually. Okay, we're flying now. We're also back in Silent Construct. that little pull movement. Oh, come on. That works sometimes. Sometimes you just get pushed a little bit to the side. I guess the farm raise one I was just talking about. Actually, you know, I think I mentioned earlier, like taking all the points on like the thumbnails of these streams, connecting them together. That was a joke. And now I'm kind of curious, like, what would that look like? Like, I probably have some bias on like which regions I'm more likely to take screenshots of. Probably just like the regions that are in speedruns that I do. Like Rivet, that's, you know, you go to Chimney, you go through you know, Underhang. Wonder if I should try any percent again, just for Saint. I've kind of not touched that category in like a year. Probably not a year, but for a long time. While I'm in starting regions, that too. I started off with any percent because I preferred that category over story. But then I just did story anyway because it was like one of the main categories. But now technically any percent is also one of the main categories, right? So I could just go back and try that again. And hopefully I've improved. And it's just a shorter run. That's nice. Go down. That's too high up. Like that like terrain was like really strange for some reason. Like it's really easy to get stuck down there. I don't know why. Oh, hold up, go this way. Can't you be like that? Drought? As in, what if Drought became a DLC? As like a separate thing to the Watcher? Like another individual character DLC? But I could be using my ability way better here. Just do this. I kind of like if mods stay mods, you know? Maybe people are excited about the idea of mods becoming canon, but I kind of feel the opposite. Like, the strength of mods is that they aren't canon and they can be whatever they want without needing to, like, contradict, or without there being any issues with, like, contradicting the game's lore, or like, you know, its rules and whatever. And what is the benefit for it becoming DLC? That they maybe tone it back a little bit? Maybe there would be some features included in Downpour if it was a mod and not, and that they removed when it became like a DLC. Maybe they did an extra round of like bug testing and like polishing. Make sure that it'd be like good for a DLC, I don't know. I would probably refer them as mods. Like, wow, look at this mod that has like a lot of effort put into it. And you're just like enjoy it as a mod and not like, okay, well here's a DLC, like, because we're gonna have similar expectations to this DLC as we did for Base Rain Road, which is like too high. Weird coincidence. So you're suggesting that the Watcher DLC is actually just Drought, but converted into like official DLC? Yeah, this wonderful song that I kind of actually don't like, but it's kind of funny, I guess. Broken Fury of the Fallen is? Isn't it like 50% more damage or something like that? It's used in like every like boss like speedrun and like the boss rush or whatever it's called. Just don't get hit. It's easy. They can't hit you if they're dead or stunned. $75. Yeah, that is pretty good. There was a mechanic like that in a mini shoot. There was like a late game item that gave you really high, like it really increased damage if you're at full health. So I guess it's actually the opposite. There was another item that gave you increased damage at low health, so they were both of the mechanics at the same time, but like, of course they can't overlap. But that was an interesting case of like, when you're at full health, you're so strong that you can't even take damage. Or it's much harder to take damage because everything dies so quickly. And then you take your one hit of damage and it's like, okay, well now I suck again. We're back down here. And so you got back down to like 1 health. It's like the Master Sword. I mean, it is very Zelda inspired. What I've learned is that every game is actually Zelda. And what I mean by that is that the like old Zelda games actually had a very strong influence, which I guess makes sense. It's like saying the Mario games had a strong influence on platformers. Like obviously, they're Mario and Zelda. Rain World. I was accidentally holding down the throw key. No, I missed. And if you're running Fury, can't you overcharm too? You manage to get your health right so that you like get your health down to 1 point. Is that possible? Just overcharm, go all in on DPS to become the ultimate class cannon. kind of sucking right now. It's broken because you will die in one hit, that's why. That's how those mechanics work. Risk reward, you know. A single hit takes you to 1 HP. Oh, that's convenient. Not fall off the map. Ascended Markov, the true final boss. What is up with the dream bosses anyway? Or is that what they called? The like ghosts? They all are kind of like way worse than the rest of the bosses in the game. Or they're just really annoying. And they might have just a little bit too much health. They make some random dreamer the worst boss? That's a great question. Why did they do that? This is where you'd want to save like a rock and throw down here. Hey guys. As I didn't forget one this time. Just barely under 55 minutes. What is this? What is this time even like? I'm gonna compare it. Current Saint record is 55:42, so this is 42 seconds faster than world record, which is actually surprising to me, considering that there was a huge riding mistake in this run. But I guess everything else makes up for it. That might be the end. Yeah, probably. What do I want to do next time, though? What do I want to do in general for Rain World? Artie? That's a fun idea. Probably back to 100, right? I guess, you know, it would be nice to finish a single 100 run, just to have it, you know. It's the one story percent run that I haven't even attempted once. Or I haven't even finished a run of. I guess I have done it on one attempt. So yeah, I'll focus on Hunter next time. World record, no way. And Nightmare King Grim? Is that that we were talking about? That boss. They're cool. I think that should I wait until I actually play Hollow Knight to say anything about it? I mean, I'm gonna play Hollow Knight before Silksong comes out, so who knows then that will be. I think Pure Vessel is the best boss by far. And that the Radiance, whatever the stronger Radiance is it Absolute Radiance? They're the worst one. That's my ranking. Who cares about the rest of the bosses? Hollow Knight stream tomorrow, and then Silksong will come out like next week. That sounds like a good plan. Maybe they're just waiting for me to play the game before they release it. Sorry guys, I've been holding up the entire development process for Silksong. Because Pure Vessel is the kind of difficulty that I really like, where it's certainly difficult at first, and it feels like you're not gonna ever have a chance, and then you practice it, and it eventually becomes really easy. I really like that kind of difficulty. Because it's like, you know, something that was once really challenging that you could barely even do at all is now something that you can just do whenever you want. And it also feels like an actual like duel and not like a bullet spam. Because they actually use like melee attacks and not just like bullets everywhere, and there's no overlapping phases. That's nice. It's always one attack at a time that you need to focus on, but it's so fast it's still challenging. Hollow Knight stream, stunning rich roll for Silksong. No, you gotta sacrifice someone. Did anyone ever get around to sacrificing who was it? Mossbag? Yeah. Someone has to be sacrificed for Silksong, right? Anyway, I think that's gonna be it. I have some actual plans for things to do. Last time I lied about it, but this time for real. I think next week we're gonna do something interesting. Yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. See ya.